Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Talking Pro Football. My name is Michael Carlyle. We will get you ready for Week 12 in the National Football League. First and foremost, happy Thanksgiving out there to everybody. Enjoy all the NFL action. Enjoy your turkey. Before we get to Week 12, we got to look back at the Monday night game that wrapped up Week 11 in the NFL, and it happened in Tampa Bay. The Buccaneers were hosting the Giants. Tom Brady threw for 307 yards and a pair of touchdowns. Tampa Bay beat the Giants 30-10. The defending Super Bowl champs snap a two-game losing skid, and Brady avoided dropping three in a row for the first time since 2002. He finished 30 of 46 with two touchdown passes. Buccaneers improved to 7-3. The Giants, they're 3-7. Let's take a look at the standings headed into Week 12 in the NFL. We'll start in the AFC. And in the East, it's a new face atop the division, but it's also an old face. The New England Patriots at 7-4. That's one game better than the Buffalo Bills at 6-4. Dolphins are 4-7. The Jets 2-8. In the AFC North, a tight division battle. The Ravens are 7-3. Cincinnati 6-4. The Steelers 5-4-1. Cleveland is 6-5. In the AFC South, the Tennessee Titans at 8-3 are your leaders. The Colts are 6-5. Houston 2-8. The Jaguars 2-8. In the AFC West, Kansas City 7-4. The Chargers are 6-4. The Raiders and the Broncos each 5-5. Over in the NFC, despite coming off a loss, the Dallas Cowboys are 7-3. They lead the East. The Eagles are 5-6. Washington 4-6, and the Giants are 3-7. Green Bay Packers are your leaders in the NFC North. They're 8-3. The Vikings are in second place at 5-5. Bears 3-7. The Lions 0-9-1. In the NFC South, Tampa Bay 7-3. That's better than the Saints at 5-5. The Panthers at 5-6. The Falcons at 4-6. And in the NFC West, the Arizona Cardinals, the best record in the entire NFL at 9-2. Rams are 7-3, 49ers 5-5, while the Seahawks are 3-7. We got lots of news and notes to get to as we head into Week 12. Four first-place teams, the Buffalo Bills, the Tennessee Titans, the Dallas Cowboys, the Green Bay Packers, all lost this past Sunday. Over the past 3 weeks, division-leading teams have dropped 11 games to opponents who didn't even have a winning record. The NFL is crazy, and that's why we love it. The Atlanta Falcons haven't scored a touchdown since Week 9. They've been outscored 68-3 in the past 2 weeks, the first time in 34 years that they failed to score a touchdown in back-to-back games. Talk about bad. The Bears have lost 8 consecutive games coming off a bye week. How does that even happen? You get an extra week to prepare. That's just remarkable. Meanwhile, the Ravens have won 13 in a row against NFC opponents. Only the Patriots from 2005 to 2009 have a better interconference winning streak in NFL history. More important, despite the ugly win, Baltimore now 7-3, a half game behind the Titans for the AFC's best record. Buffalo Bills have struggled as of late. They've got 9 turnovers in their last 3 games. When you wonder what's going on with them, you can point to 2 things: the run game, which has been really bad, and the turnovers. Speaking of turnovers, Derek Carr has thrown at least 1 interception now in 4 straight games. That is the longest current streak in the league. What may well be the stat of the week: the Philadelphia Eagles became the first team since the 78 Patriots to run for at least 175 yards in 4 consecutive games, and they do it without a 100-yard rusher in any of those 4 games. Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert has now led 5 game-winning drives this season. That would be the most in the NFL. He also connected with Mike Williams for 5 separate go-ahead touchdown passes in the fourth quarter this season. That's the most by any quarterback and wide receiver duo in a single season in NFL history. The Giants have lost 10 straight games in prime time now, including games against Washington, Kansas City, and now Tampa Bay. This season, the Giants must cringe when they look at the schedule and see they've got a primetime game. Who's not going to be giving thanks on Thursday? Well, the Bears, the Lions, the Raiders, the Cowboys, the Saints, and Bills. The 6 teams that'll be playing on Thursday. Why won't they be giving thanks? They all lost on Sunday. They all have to turn around and play on short notice on Thanksgiving. The league can be brutal sometimes. Speaking of brutal, let's take a look at the Jets quarterback scorecard. Zach Wilson has been cleared to return from his knee injury. He's expected to start Sunday versus Houston. That's good news because Mike White's tested positive for COVID. Joe Flacco's been deemed a close contact. Their status up in the air. And Josh Johnson is poised to be promoted off the practice squad to back up Zach Wilson. That is a terrible group of quarterbacks. All due respect. And I know Flacco's won Super Bowls. I know Zach Wilson, they think very highly of. Right now, that's a really bad group of quarterbacks, man. It is rough. Good news for Giants and Jets fans, I guess. If the season ended today, the Jets and Giants would own 4 of the top 7 picks in the 2022 NFL Draft. The Lions are all but assured of having the number 1 pick, but the Jets would pick second, which would be their pick. They would also pick 5th, the pick they get from the Seahawks. Giants, meanwhile, at the moment, would have the 6th overall pick from the Bears, and then they would have their own pick at number 7. Your Week 11 Players of the Week will start in the AFC. The Offensive Player of the Week, Colts running back Jonathan Taylor. Defensive Player of the Week, Kansas City's Chris Jones. And your Special Teams Player of the Week, Evan McPherson of Cincinnati. Your NFC Players of the Week, wide receiver Justin Jefferson from the Vikings. Your Offensive Player of the Week, Defensive Player of the Week in the NFC, Chandler Jones, the Cardinals linebacker. And kicker Jake Elliott of the Eagles, your Special Teams Player of the Week. The Denver Broncos reached an agreement on a contract extension for wide receiver Cortland Sutton. It's a 4-year, $60.8 million extension. $34.9 million of it is guaranteed. The Giants, we talked about their woes a couple of times already. They part ways with offensive coordinator Jason Garrett. Look, somebody's got to take the fall, I suppose, and it's not going to be the head coach just yet. But let's not put all the blame for the Giants' offensive woes on poor Jason Garrett. Could he have done a better job? I'm certain he could have. But between injuries, between lack of protection for Daniel Jones, between having to use Daniel Jones as your starting quarterback, Giants have had a load of problems. Wouldn't put it all on Jason Garrett, but somebody's got to take the fall. Some injury notes headed into Week 12. Test confirmed Packers offensive lineman Elgton Jenkins suffered a season-ending torn ACL in Sunday's loss to the Vikings. The Saints have ruled out running back Alvin Kamara for Thursday night versus the Bills. Running back Mark Ingram listed as questionable. Jets rookie running back Michael Carter suffered a low-grade high ankle sprain. He's expected to be sidelined for at least a couple of weeks. Atlanta's Calvin Ridley is eligible to be activated off the non-football injury list this week, but earlier in the week, Falcons head coach Arthur Smith said he had no update on his standout wide receiver. Remember, Ridley stepped away from the game to deal with mental health issues. And the Jaguars this week made it official. They placed wide receiver James Agnew on injured reserve. He had suffered a season-ending hip injury. All right, let's get to it. Week 12 in the National Football League. It starts on Thursday. Not 1, not 2, but 3 games for your Thanksgiving enjoyment. And we start in Detroit with the Lions hosting the Bears. All right, maybe this one not so much Thanksgiving enjoyment as much as Thanksgiving tradition. The Lions, they're truly dreadful. A couple things here. Who will the quarterbacks be? Looks like Jared Goff will get the start for Detroit. If not, though, Tim Boyle would get his second straight start. I'd put my money on Goff here. Bears coach Matt Nagy said earlier this week that Andy Dalton will get the start for Chicago. Justin Fields still dealing with the rib injury. This is going to be an ugly game just based on the nature of these two teams. I don't feel good about this, but I am going to take the Bears here because I'd feel even worse if I were picking the Lions. So we'll take Chicago to get your Thanksgiving going on the road. The afternoon game, the Raiders, they hit the road. They visit the Dallas Cowboys. Dak Prescott could be without Amari Cooper, could be without CeeDee Lamb, but the Cowboys remain a touchdown favorite against the Raiders. Raiders, like we've talked about, they're in a free fall right now. They're -4 in turnover ratio during their losing streak. So look for Micah Parsons and Trayvon Diggs to have big plays on defense. Cowboys, by the way, have won the last 3 matchups against the Raiders, including their meeting on Thanksgiving back in 2009. Cowboys, though, they're dealing with a little 2-game losing streak in Thanksgiving games. I believe they will snap that on Thursday. Give me Dallas at home. Your third and final Thanksgiving game, it'll be the primetime game. It'll be the Saints at home playing host to the Bills. Bills come in a 4-point favorite here. Saints on a 3-game losing streak. Trevor Siemian completing 57% of his passes during that losing streak. Bills, though, they've averaged 3 turnovers lost per game in the last 3 weeks. And if they don't clean that up, this one might be close as well. Having said that, you just look at the matchups. You look at the talent on each side, who's available, who's not available. You got to feel good about the Bills here. I will take Buffalo. On to the Sunday games. We'll start in Cincinnati. The Bengals at home, a 3.5-point favorite against the Steelers. Bengals haven't swept Pittsburgh since 2009. That was a 10-win season, which Cincinnati lost in the AFC wildcard round. Bengals dominated the first meeting between these two teams 24-7. The opportunity for the Bengals to win is there. But how many times have Bengals let their fans down before? I think the Steelers actually get the win here. Give me Pittsburgh in a close game. Tampa Bay Buccaneers are on the road. They come into Indianapolis as 3-point favorites against the Colts. Now look, Tom Brady's got a long history in big games in Indianapolis, but Peyton Manning's not the one to worry about this week. It'll be Jonathan Taylor, the Colts running back. He's averaging 157.7 yards rushing in the last 3 weeks for Indy. Tampa does, though, have the league's best run defense. It'll be tested here. I love the way the Colts are playing right now, but I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will squeak out a pretty close win in this one. Carolina Panthers go on the road as 1-point favorites to the Miami Dolphins. Cam Newton to a Tagovailoa matchup. Hey, why the heck not, right? Newton's return has made the headlines, but Miami's defense, they're allowing just 12 points per game through the last 3 games, all victories. This one may not be pretty either, but I like the Dolphins at home in a close one. Tennessee Titans, they go on the road. They visit the Patriots. New England, a 5.5-point favorite. This line seems awful high to me, given Tennessee's record, where they're at overall in the AFC. But you look at what the Patriots have done as of late with that defense, with the solid play of Mac Jones at quarterback. Despite Tennessee's record, you got to wonder how they're going to keep doing it without Derrick Henry. Mike Vrabel has led Tennessee to victories against the Patriots in each of the last 2 meetings. Having said that, I'm going to trust the Patriots here. I like their defense. I like the fact they're at home. Give me New England. The Eagles, they visit the Giants. Philly, a 3.5-point favorite on the road. They do have some momentum. They've got back-to-back victories. They've scored at least 30 points in both those games. Giants are coming in on a short week. We've talked about their struggles. We talked about the offense, parting ways with Jason Garrett as offensive coordinator. I still don't feel really good about the Eagles, but I do like them in this game. Giants just have a load of problems. Give me Philadelphia. Speaking of loads of problems, the Jacksonville Jaguars are at home. They welcome the Atlanta Falcons. Falcons a 1-point favorite on the road. In this one, they get some extra time to figure out their offensive struggles as of late with the bye week. Jaguars, they haven't scored more than 19 points in a home game this season. I think Georgia fans are finally going to get to celebrate a win against Urban Meyer. Unfortunately, it won't be the Bulldogs over the Gators. It'll be the Falcons over the Jaguars. Houston Texans, here's something you don't say every day. The Houston Texans are favorites at home. They play host to the New York Jets. We talked about the Jets' problems. Looks like Zach Wilson's going to get the start at quarterback this week. The big thing here, though, for this game, draft order. You look at where these teams are headed. You're playing more for draft order for the future than you are necessarily here. Texans are coming off a victory here. They forced 5 turnovers in each of their last 2 games. The Jets, they've got a minus 15 turnover ratio on the year. This will be another less than pretty game, but I do like the Houston Texans in this one. The late games on Sunday, we start in Denver. The Broncos,